welcome on back. I am Buzz the Noob, and thanks for coming back to my channel. And today we are going to be talking about the Brewmaster Monk, everybody's favorite drinky boy. Come on, who cannot like Brewmaster? They're fun, they're exciting, they mitigate all the damage, and while they don't have a lot of self-healing, which I generally really want in my tanks that I like to play, the way they take their damage is just so smooth that it's not even funny. Now there is two big things we need to talk about that are not part of the talents before the talents will even make sense before we can talk about them. First thing is, it's actually interconnected, so not two, but I guess one. Iron Skin Brew has been removed. It's no longer part of the game, which is fine by me because really it was just one more button that you had to push to keep it up 100% of the time, which was super easy. There was no choice involved in it. If you're telling me there was, I'm telling you, you're wrong. You didn't take light brewing and just deal with it. I don't know what to tell you about that, but it's gone. It's been replaced by Shuffle, which is the way Shuffle comes into play is by hitting things. So basically, all of your offensive abilities will add Shuffle on, which basically replaces Iron Skin Brew. It does the exact same thing. So no change. There's a change as far as gameplay is going to be concerned, but as far as your active mitigation, not really, except for now you pretty much, if you're in a fight, you cannot drop active mitigation. I will be curious to see if your Shuffle will start working if you cast something like Rushing Jade Wind, or whether you actually have to hit a target for it to work. That would be one thing, because right now the only way that's kind of a buff, or not a buff, but a nerf, is the fact that as a Brewmaster you can go into a fight with Iron Skin Brew up. If you can't use something like Rushing Jade Wind to preemptively get your Shuffle working, then you're going to take that first hit a little harder to your stagger than you normally would. But that's not that big of a deal, I don't think. But you could already have your active mitigation up 100% of the time. So you're going to be playing a little bit more like a Blood DK in the fact that your active mitigation comes from an offensive, and unlike a Blood DK where it's just Morrowind, this will be every one of your offensive abilities adds this into the game. So that's, you know, if you're going to have active mitigation up 100% of the time. So let's take a look at our talents, shall we? So on our first row, we still have Eye of the Tiger, Chai Wave, and Chai Burst. Sorry, I don't know, and I'm going to screw up anything that's even slightly Asian in the name. I apologize it right now. Really, since there's no changes here, I am going to read these off real fast. So we have Eye of the Tiger. Tiger Palm also applies Eye of the Tiger, dealing nature damage to the enemy and healing the monk over 8 seconds. Okay, always nice. Chai Wave, a wave of Chai energy. I'm going to say Chi. I'm just going to go with Chi. If I'm wrong, oh well. A wave of Chi energy flows through friends and foes, dealing nature damage or healing, bounces up to 7 times to targets within 25 yards. Chi Burst hurls a torrent of Chi energy up to 40 yards forward, dealing nature damage to all enemies and healing to the monk and all allies in its path. For us, it also casting does not prevent avoiding attacks. Okay? At any rate, with no changes to this row, Eye of the Tiger is still going to be the way to go. Okay? It's going to give you that passive healing and damage. Why not do that? You do have quite a bit going on already as a Brewmaster, so I don't think there's really a need to mess up the rotation any. Plus, these two, they're still scaled the exact same way. Everything is even scaled the exact same way. So there's no change. So I don't think anything's going to change there. Our second row is our mobility row still. Celerity, Chi Torpedo, and Tiger's Lust. Do the same thing. Celerity gives you a second roll and reduces its cooldown. Chi Torpedo gives you a second roll. Well, it doesn't give you a second roll. Yeah, it does. Torpedoes you forward a long distance and increases your movement speed by 30% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 2 times. Okay? Replaces roll. Reduces cooldown of roll by 5 seconds and increase. Yeah. So, both of them give you that. And Tiger's Lust increases a friendly's target movement speed by 70% for 6 seconds and removes all roots and snares. As far as PvE content goes, Chi Torpedo Celerity, kind of wherever you want to be on that one, doesn't really matter. I kind of like Chi Torpedo just because of the movement speed I get after I'm done. But, that's player preference. Doesn't matter. This is more your PvP. Hey, look, it's kind of like a poor man's, actually, maybe a rich man's blessing of freedom, because it's actually better. Because you also increase their movement speed by 70% as opposed to just getting them out of a root or snare. So we're going to leave that one blank. Light Brewing, which this row has got lots of changes because of the removal of Iron Skin Brew. So Light Brewing, reduce the cooldown of Purifying Brew and Celestial Brew, that's a new thing, by 20%. Okay? Just the only thing that changes is it no longer adds to Iron Skin Brew and reduces that one as well because Iron Skin Brew is no longer in the game. Spitfire. Tiger Palm has a 25% chance to reset the cooldown of Breath of Fire. Same thing it does now. And Black Ox Brew. Chug some Black Ox Brew, which instantly refills your energy, purifying brew charges and resets the cooldown of Celestial Brew. Okay. Spitfire is still just not going to be competitive. I don't think that's still the 25% chance is not going to be enough on Breath of Fire to get it up enough. So I'm still probably going to run Light Brewing, just get more purifying brews in so my stagger gets down more. It's going to be good. It's going to really depend on how good Celestial Brew is. Chug some Black Oak Pure and resets the cooldown of Celestial Brew. So if this totally resets it, that's pretty good too. So I'm not sure which one's better right now. Honestly, I want to see Celestial Brew, which I don't have access to yet. So one of those ones is going to be there. There's going to be one of these two, Black Ox Brew or Light Brewing. It's kind of going to be, I think, again, this is going to be user preference. Now this is a kind of set it and forget ability. This has got it. Black Ox Brew does have a 2-minute cooldown, so it is actually a cooldown. So skill ceiling is going to come into play here. Which one do you like more? How do you like to play? And so give you more actions per minute, every 2 minutes. So Tiger Tail Sweep. Yeah. So Tiger Tail Sweep is still the same. Increases the range of leg sweep by 2 yards. And reduces its cooldown by 10 seconds. Summon Black Ox statue, no change here. You still summon the statue, have him taunt, and take care of all that crap for you. And Ring of Peace, no change from this one either. Form a Ring of Peace at the target location for 5 seconds. Enemies that enter will be ejected from the ring. So again, this is totally going to be 100% situation dependent. If you know you're going to be fighting a whole bunch of stuff that's going to be on you and needs to be interrupted, Tiger Tail Sweep. If you know you need to push people away, Paku Fight, Ring of Peace, or if you need to give yourself some kiting ability, Ring of Peace. Summon Black Ox statue, that's going to be another good way for some kiting ability. Throw down your statue, have everything taunted, it'll run to that as opposed to you have to run it away. So it's kind of going to depend on situations, just like it does now. Just what you think you're going to have. Probably running alone, I'm probably going to go Tiger Tail Sweep so I can pull a big old mob, knock everything down, and then beat them to death. But besides that, no changes there. I'm just going to go ahead and push that for when I'm solo contenting. So then we have Bob and Weave, Healing Elixir, and Dampen Harm, which again, no changes to any of these. So Bob and Weave will still increase the duration of stagger by 3 seconds. So just makes that damage input a little longer, but also helps smooth it out for a little longer. Healing Elixir, drinking a Healing Elixir will heal you for up to 15% of your maximum health. Dampen Harm, reduce all damage you take by 20 to 50% for 10 seconds, with larger attacks being reduced by more. So again, kind of depends on where you're at. Bob and Weave is kind of, again, the set and forget kind of talent, so you don't have to think about it. It just increases the duration of your stagger. No big deal. Healing Elixir really is the weakest one on this row. Solo content, I like to take Healing Elixir just to give because you know, I can use it while I'm fighting, as opposed to most of our heals as a brewmaster aren't really usable while fighting. So that's kind of nice to have that. But that's the only time I use it if I'm doing solo content. Dampen harm. Big boss fights, you're going to take a big hit. 2-minute cooldown. It's not bad for a defensive cooldown, so that gives you a whole nother defensive cooldown. So I'm probably going to run Bob and Weave again a lot. But when I get into some content that I understand a little better, maybe use Dampen Harm more often. Special Delivery. This is our Legion weapon ability that we're probably still not going to use. Drink from your brews has a 100% chance to toss a keg high into the air that lands nearby after 3 seconds, dealing damage to all enemies within 8 yards and reducing their movement speed by 50% for 15 seconds. Exactly the same as what it does right now. Rushing Jade Wind, again, it's just going to give you your AoE ability right there around you all the time. It is on a 6-second cooldown with summons a Warlord causing blah damage over 6 seconds. Up to 6 enemies. Okay, so it did have a change. I'm sorry. So it's only up to 6 enemies within 8 yards. So you're still going to be able to do it. You can keep almost 100% uptime right now, or just over 100. Add 100% uptime on Rushing Jade Wind. It doesn't look like you're going to be able to do that. Let me check. Over 6 seconds. It's got 6 seconds. So I think you're still going to be able to stack them to make it work. So I don't know. It's still going to be okay. It's what I've been using. I like the AoE. Exploding Keg hurls a flaming keg at the target location, dealing a butt ton of fire damage to nearby enemies and causing them to miss their melee attacks for the next 3 seconds. So that's 2 attacks. I like this one a lot. But with the 1-minute cooldown, it's kind of long. I mean, you're doing a whole bunch of damage. You're going to be able to use that once per pack leveling, maybe twice in a really big fight in a Mythic Plus or something. Boss fights 2 or 3 times. It depends on how long the fight is. I mean, up to, 12 times, I guess. I just don't know if that's going to help. I mean, at least this has a defensive component as opposed to Rushing Jade Wind, which doesn't. So, I don't know. I don't know yet. I have to play with it. But I'm intrigued, and I'm very, very hopeful. We'll put it that way. I would really like to see that be an awesome talent, because that just sounds like fun. And 189% of attack power is a lot of dang damage. So, our final row, we have High Tolerance, which... Yeah, an Exploding Keg, by the way, also replaced the Summon Ox, because that is now baseline. Okay, so that's now a baseline ability. So that's why we got a new talent there. Our row 50 talents, we have High Tolerance, which makes Stagger 5% more effective at delaying damage, and you gain 15% haste based on your current level of Stagger. Okay. Celestial Flames. Drinking from brews has a 30% chance, this is our new talent, has a 30% chance to coat the monk with Celestial Flames for 6 seconds, increasing the damage reduction of Breath of Fire by 5%. Spinning Crane Kick also causes a Breath of Fire on targets. Okay, all in all, I think that's really good. Yeah. Blackout combo is exactly the same, except for the fact the last line, Celestial Brew pauses stagger damage for 3 seconds, okay? I just don't see this being usable still. High Tolerance didn't change, and it was much better than Blackout combo before, so I don't see Blackout combos being there still. But I'm thinking Celestial Flames may actually be better than High Tolerance. Again, they're both passives, but the fact that this gives us increasing the damage reduction, man, I just think this is the way to go. So how I'm going to run my when I first get in, this is kind of how I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to put that there just because I'm actually going to do that. This is not the right talent, okay, guys? Don't use healing elixir unless you're doing just leveling or something. Bob and weave or dampen harm, but this is kind of a leveling build. Okay, so I have the Tiger, Chai Torpedo, Light Brewing, Tiger Tail Sweep, Healing Elixir, Exploding Keg, Celestial Flames. Okay, Bob and weave, dampen harm there, and then friggin' depending on the dungeon there. And this could go over to here. And this doesn't matter. But all in all, I think monks are still in a great place. I mean, they've been king of rating for all of BFA. You've had to have at least one brewmaster, maybe two. They're just awesome, and with Shuffle and Stagger still being there, and Shuffle replacing Ironskin Brew, I don't see it changing. Now, they did take a pretty significant nerf that the Stagger no longer reduces any magic damage. Now, it used to, and it does in live, reduce a percentage of the magic damage. Now, it's not nearly as good as if you're getting punched in the face to stagger it off, but it was there. So I think it was like 20% reduced effectiveness or something like that. May have been even higher than that. But now you no longer have that at all, which is a pretty big nerf. So you're not going to be able to handle magic damage pretty much at all. However, you are going to be able to handle any kind of physical damage you're taking. So on high magic bosses, you're going to have a problem. Necrotic Reeks, where that necrotic damage, assuming necrotic's still in the game, that's going to be a problem. That's really going to hurt the Brewmasters overall. However, outside of those occasions, you're going to be fine, and you're still going to be one of the best tanks. Without being able to handle any magic damage, I do think that's not going to make you mandatory for raids, because there is just too much magic damage in the raids. But we're going to see. I mean, we don't know what the Shadowlands raids are going to have, but I can't imagine them not having a lot of magic damage still. But that is going to hurt the Brewmasters a lot. I still think they're going to be awesome, but maybe knocks them down a peg or two, which would be fine. Frankly, if you're a Brewmaster main, you know you've been king of the world for a long time, and that you know you had to see this coming. They've been trying to knock you guys down, and the only way to do it was you either get rid of Stagger completely, which totally reworks the entire class, so that's not happening, or you do something like you take away the magical component of Stagger, and that's what they did. I think it's a good call. I wish they'd given them something in return, so they have like an AMS or a Blessing and Spell Warding or something for that, as opposed to they just took it and it's like, you don't have anything now, because that's pretty much where you're at. With that said, guys, I hope everybody's had a wonderful day, evening, weekend. I hope you're staying safe, staying healthy, and I will see you next time. Have a good day. Bye.